Hey, what's going on, y'all? We've got our weekly FLSA update covering from 5/11 to 5/18/2023. So let's jump right on in. So this week we saw service, adult long-term care, two restaurants, separate restaurants that is, security services, and the first time I'm seeing it this year for FLSA violations, agricultural. So how many employees were affected? 10 for the service company, adult long-term care saw 16, the restaurant saw 63, security services 52, agricultural 43, and restaurant 35. So what happened? Well, the service company did not pay overtime for employees and also failed to pay employees for time spent traveling in between job sites. So in other words, they were probably having them punch in when they got to the facility and punching out when they left the facility, even if they were going to another place to work. The adult long-term care company, they deliberately, which means they knew what they were doing, but they still did it anyway. Failed to pay overtime to workers and also paid a couple of workers below minimum wage. And they also did not keep accurate records. Pretty crazy for an adult long-term care company because if they accept Medicaid dollars, that means they really have some stringent record-keeping policies. The security company actually paid salary for all hours worked and straight time for overtime. So again, denying people their appropriate overtime as well. The restaurant that was in New Jersey, they paid employees a day rate, which is basically not any different than a piece rate, and they actually failed to pay overtime. They used checks and cash to pay a semi-monthly salary to kitchen staff, which is a little awkward to do that because there's no reason to do that. And they also failed to pay tipped employees time and 1/2 for hours worked over 40. And again, they willfully violated these rules. So they knew what they were doing, but they still did it anyway. The agricultural company paid straight time for all hours worked after 40 hours. And crazy enough, they said some people even worked as many as 75 hours a week. Could you imagine getting paid straight time for all hours worked, but then you're like, man, I just missed out on a half of, you know, 35 hours of work? I think that would drive a lot of people nuts. Did not pay workers at least twice monthly as required by law in accordance with agricultural law. And of course, the last restaurant in Hawaii, they allowed managers to pocket some of the tips earned by servers, cooks, and kitchen helpers. So it's not allowed for management staff to participate and non-tipped employees to participate in tip pools or tipping in general. So how much was paid in back wages and liquidated damages? This is kind of an odd week. Pretty much every single one of them saw a civil money penalty except for one, which means they all did something egregious enough that the agency decided to charge it to them. The service industry saw over $96,000 in back wages and liquidated damages, plus a $1,500 civil money penalty. The adult long-term care facility saw $211,000 paid back to the employees, plus a $12,000 fine for civil money penalties. The New Jersey restaurant paid over $300,000 in back wages and liquidated damages, plus a $35,000 civil money penalty. The security services company, $186,000, agriculture, $167,000, plus a $13,000 civil money penalty. And of course, the last restaurant, Hawaii, $91,000 in back wages and liquidated damages, plus a $3,800 civil money penalty. So what did that average out per employee? Again, this is just an estimate, not saying that's what they got paid. Over $6,700 for service, over $13,000 for adult long-term care. The first restaurant in New Jersey, over $4,700. Security services, over $3,500. Agricultural, over $3,800. And the restaurant in Hawaii, over $2,600. So pretty crazy average for that adult long-term care facility. But again, when you break some rules, some pretty big consequences come up. So some of these lessons that we give on a recurring basis are really starting to seem like a broken record. I can't tell you how many times I've said, get a timekeeping program that automatically tracks these hours and also tracks overtime and pays in time and a half. I mean, there's no reason in the world why a company should not have that. When companies travel for your company and are hourly, they should be compensated for travel time and when in the scope of work. Commute time's not included. Look at FLSA exemption classifications before you exempt someone and pay them salary. Also, don't remove employees' time under any circumstances. Pay every single hour that they work. Don't be, a cheapskate. Pay them for what they're due. There's no reason to jump into that. If someone tells you what you're doing is wrong, you probably need to listen to them, because we just saw 2 companies in this listing that knew what they were doing but still did it anyway. And don't allow management to participate in tip pools or accept tips under any circumstances. It's pretty simple. And that's it, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe to the videos. Y'all take care and talk to you next week.